Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, story timers, and welcome back to a whole new story time today. I hope you guys are excited to continue to talk about prophethood because I am so excited to tell you about the interesting events that are about to happen next. Let's make sure. And welcome back to a whole new All right, and we are going to talk all about how the disbelievers responded to prophethood. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about what we learned about prophethood in the previous story time. Do you guys remember anything that we talked about in the previous story time? What did Prophet Hood say to his people? If you guys remember, Prophet Hood was an important member of the people of Ad. He was on the council and he was from one of them. He also was an early Arab and spoke Arabic, so he spoke their same language as well. During this time, the people of Ad were very wealthy and successful people, but this made them become ungrateful to Allah. And instead of worshiping Allah, they started to worship idols and their ancestors instead. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Hud to the people of Ad to warn them about not worshiping Allah and to tell them that they have to worship Allah alone, not idols and ancestors. So Prophet Hud tried his best. He tried and he tried to convince them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the only one that they should be worshiping. But the people of Ad laughed at him. They didn't want to listen to what Prophet Hud had to say. And in fact, they thought that they could offer Prophet Hud money just so that he would stop talking. They said, we would give you whatever you want, but we don't want to hear you talking about Allah anymore. But Prophet Hud, he didn't accept that. His message was from Allah and he had to obey Allah and he believed in Allah alone. He said, there is nothing that you would give me that would stop me from worshiping and telling you to worship Allah. The people of Ad started to get angry. And here we are going, inshallah, today to see how they responded to Prophet Hud's message. So let's get started. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. And let's start. So we talked about last time the Day of Judgment as well. But the disbelievers, the people of Ad, did not believe in the Day of Judgment. They told him, they said, Prophet Hud, how can you be a prophet? And how can you try to tell us to worship Allah when you are just a human like us? You're nobody special. Why should we listen to you? They refused to listen to Prophet Hud. They thought, how could just a normal person remind them to worship Allah? And they were very, very arrogant. They said, we're not going to believe in you. And we're not going to believe in the Day of Judgment. We don't believe anything that you're saying. Instead, we think that you are a liar. Oh my goodness, can you believe that Prophet Hud's people said such bad words about him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We will never believe that Allah is a liar. As Muslims, we must believe everything that Allah said and everything that Allah has decreed on us, both the good and the bad. We believe in Allah, we believe in His angels, we believe in all of His prophets, we believe in His books, we believe in His will, and we believe in the Day of Judgment. And if you don't believe in that, then you will be a disbeliever, and that will make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very angry with you. But the people of Ad just could not believe that somebody like them who was part of their council, who they knew all their lives and who sat with them in their meetings, would suddenly become a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his infinite wisdom sent a person to the people of Ad and as all prophets and messengers to convince the people. If he had sent an angel or someone that or something that the people could not see, they would not believe their eyes. It would be even harder for them to accept the message. So Allah in his wisdom sent the message from a person as such as them, one who could relate to them and who knew how to give the message to them. And this is also something that we should know about. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of our prophets and messengers were just human beings, but their message came directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they had feelings like us and they were people who would be able to send the message and understand how to speak and how to interact with the humans. But they would not go away from the message that was sent to them directly from their Lord. This is something that we should all know about, and this is from the wisdom of Allah. We don't question anything that Allah does. We don't say, well, why is the Prophet like this? Oh, why is this like that? We never say those words. That is very bad to say because we never question Allah's judgment and wisdom because Allah knows everything and Allah is most wise and we do not know. So we listen and we accept whatever Allah and his prophets are telling us. However, the people of Ad were not convinced. They didn't understand this and they disbelieved in Prophet Hud and they thought that he was a liar. They continued to question, why? Why? Don't you think that is strange, Prophet Hud? Are you stupid? You think that we are going to believe in just a mere human? These are really bad words. They were so angry and they were lashing out, saying bad words to Prophet Hud and about him. But Prophet Hud was calm in his response. He said, Allah wants to guide you to the right way, so that's why he sent me. You remember what happened to Prophet Noah's people, and remember, guys, we talked about that in the first story time about Prophet Hud and the people of Ad, is they came after Prophet Noah and strayed away from his path. So they were descendants of Prophet Noah. So Prophet Hud said, you know what happened to Prophet Noah. That was not that long ago, and you can remember. You remember how the disbelievers were destroyed before. So why would you make that same mistake again? Only Allah can guide and protect you. So worship Allah alone. Allah sent me as a guide to you and to warn you if you do not worship and come back to Islam and come back to the way of worshiping, the right way of life. And so that is Allah's wisdom. And Prophet Hud explained it to the disbelievers. Despite all of the bad things that they were saying, he explained to them that Allah sent him to warn the people to come back to his way of life. And this is something that we also have to look at. We have to look at and understand Allah's explanations as they are put inside of the Quran. And Allah knows and we do not know. And we also have to look at those before us. We look at what happened and the punishment that was sent to those before us to remind us and to guide us back to the way of Islam, just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his prophet told us to practice it. We always have to remember that no matter how strong we think we are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller and he is the God and the guide of all of us. So we have to submit to his will. We cannot just do whatever we want. And whenever we think that we are confused, or if you forget, you have to remember these stories These story times are very important because they are also a guide for you. They remind you of how important it is to worship Allah and to be humble and nice and kind people and not to follow the way of the disbelievers, just as the people before us. So let's see what happens next. What do you guys think is going to happen next? Do you think that the disbelievers will finally accept Prophet Hud's message now that they understand why he was sent? You're probably right. Unfortunately, the disbelievers still didn't believe in Prophet Hud. They were being so stubborn. Can you believe that someone would really deny to worship Allah? No matter what Prophet Hud said to them, they still believed that they were better than Prophet Hud and that they did not have to worship Allah. But then they said even worse words. They said, our gods will save us from anything that is going wrong. We will worship our gods. We will not worship your God. Oh my goodness. Prophet Hud had to remind them, are you hearing what you're saying? Only Allah can protect and save you. You have to worship Allah. There's no power except by Allah. And whatever Allah wills will be, whether He wishes to protect you or to harm you. This is all from Allah, not from any other person or God, only from Allah. And that's something that we should all try to remember. All of the power is in Allah's hands, and only Allah can help us or save us. So if we are having a hard time, or if we're feeling down, or even if we need something, we have to remember to turn to Allah and to ask Him and to make dua to Him and to pray to Him and to trust in Him. We have to truly believe and trust that Allah can always help us. So if you're ever feeling scared, or if you're feeling sad, or if you just feel like you need something but you don't know what to do, you have to ask Allah because Allah will guide you. So anytime you need anything, what should you do? Yes, you should ask Allah. If you are feeling scared or if you need some help, what should you do? You should ask Allah and then ask an elder to help you as well. But all things happen because of Allah, and all power comes from Allah. Nothing can protect you from Allah's will. Whatever Allah wants to happen will happen. So if anything happens to you, you have to say, Masha Allah. Can you say that for me? Masha Allah. Masha Allah. Remember, if something happens that you didn't like or it didn't make you very happy, you have to remember that this was Allah's will and Allah caused it and wanted it to happen. And Allah is protecting you. So anytime that something happens that doesn't make you feel happy, you say, Masha Allah. And when something happens that is very good, like you get a new toy, or you go somewhere really fun and makes you really, really happy, then Allah caused you to be happy, and Allah is the one who gave it to you. So we have to thank Allah for that. And for that, we say, Alhamdulillah. Can you say that for me? Yes, absolutely. We say, Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So when something sad happens, we remember that Allah is protecting us and we say, MashaAllah. We don't say, that is bad, or I don't need any help. No, we say, MashaAllah, because Allah is helping us. And if something good happens that makes you feel so happy and like smiling and laughing, then you say Alhamdulillah, okay? Don't forget, MashaAllah and Alhamdulillah. So, time passed. The years went on and on. The disbelievers became more and more mean and arrogant. They, they said bad words to prophethood and called him crazy, and they refused to believe in his message. This started to make prophethood very, very, very sad, and he couldn't understand what to do. The only thing that he could do next was to turn to Allah. And inshallah, we will continue to learn about what happens finally, and we will summarize the whole story and the terrible ending next week. Inshallah, we will find out what happened to those mean and arrogant disbelievers and what happened to prophethood and the very nice believers. We'll find all that out, inshallah, on the next story time. And guys, I am so happy that you joined me today. If you stay with me, then that is just so awesome, and that makes me so happy. Alhamdulillah. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next story time. And don't forget, when something happens, remember everything happens by Allah's will and power. And if we feel sad, we say, MashaAllah. And if we're feeling happy, we say, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for joining us. Subhanallah. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.